Hey guys. Hey guys. That was the most craziest laugh ever. But hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Oh my god, I have longed to say those words. It's been such a long time. I'm not even feeling bad about it because I feel like it was needed. I need to breathe, breathe because I am here already. So I jotted down a few points because I don't want to miss out on anything that I want to say in this video. The first one is why I've been MIA. Oh my god, Bella. Well, let's just say life took a toll on me. I disappeared from YouTube after I think November, December. I brought the energy. I was creating content back to back. I was telling myself, yes. Each time I make a new upload, I'll tell myself, yes, you have uploaded this week. Now look forward to next week. The next week I'm gonna upload. I'm like, yes. On to the next milestone. And with all the plans that I had, January came and everything just died down. And that's due to a lot of reasons. I wouldn't want to use the word depression, but for a lack of a better word, I was depressed. And that brings me to one time a friend tweeted and was like, why is it that all YouTubers are always depressed? They are always going through something. I just looked at these tweets like, first of all, you don't even know what you're saying because everybody goes through things, right? It's just that YouTubers have mastered the art of expressing themselves because obviously they're YouTubers, and in as much as not everybody expresses themselves the way others do, to some extent, YouTubers would spill the tea, you know. Obviously, they're creating content. Even TikTokers, Instagrammers, they would spill the tea for you, like, this is what's going on. And I read that tweet differently, really, because like everybody's going through stuff, and most people say it, most people do not. And for most YouTubers, they always talk about it. That's why it feels like YouTubers are always going through things. So, like, I'm just debunking that. So, I have been this person that has been, for someone that talks about productivity, I've been this girl that has struggled a lot with procrastination. In fact, I would say procrastination almost ruined me. And to some extent, it's not because I procrastinated intentionally. I know what to do, I know how to do it, I know how to go about it, but I can't just bring myself to do it. Like, there is so many things that I could link that to that whole procrastination thing. And then being someone that is also like experiencing or suffering hormonal imbalance, some days you're like super hyper and ready to take over the world, other days you're like, god, just get me through today. Other days you just want to punch everything and anything, right? And some days it just feels like you're not existing and stuff like that. So it was a lot for me in particular, being someone that has somewhat navigated life alone a lot of times. So I've made lots of silly mistakes, I've made lots of financial mistakes, poor planning, poor budgeting, poor everything. And that's always ends up having a long term effect on me because at the end of the day, I'm like, oh my god, shoot, I messed up again. And that pushed me into a lot of depression. And in December, I lost my job. I got laid off. So, like, for everyone that is close to me would know that for every time I work with a company, I always put in my all. I always put in the energy. In fact, you would almost swear that it is my company or that is my product, right? Because of the energy, because of the time, the resource, everything. Like, I carry these companies on my head, right? So, you know, it happened and I felt really bad because within my team, ward three, I was managing two people, and then I also had a manager that was managing me. So the people that I was managing, in most cases, I was covering up for them because obviously you don't want your team to look like the bad one and stuff like that. So a lot of times they would underperform. I would do extra work just so I would be able to meet up. I would give feedback, and all of that because I believe that no matter the mistakes that you make, like everybody deserves an opportunity to learn and grow, right? And with all those things happening, I think there was one of them they wanted to lay off. And I said, no, like you can't lay this person off. She's learning and there are lots of things that she could still improve on, right? And it was so unfortunate that this company wanted like an overnight success. Meanwhile, it's not like that. Sometimes you have to like withstand the taste of time. So I think they gave her extra 2 months, extra 3 months. I can't remember. At the end of the day, they were like, you know what? We want to let this person go. At that point, like they were not asking for my opinion. They were telling me, Aspe, you're the head, right? But we're telling you that you are letting this person go. I felt bad for her, but I mean, obviously, work needs to go on, which it did. And in less than 2 weeks, I don't know, I just had my gut feeling was just telling me, Bella, something is not right. Something is not right. But I mean, to the best of my knowledge, I had done what I needed to do and was still even doing more and was still even looking for the results were not coming in like as let me say we're having like 10 to 15% results, but they were looking for like 100% every day, every day, every day. But this is something that is pretty much still new in the market. People are gonna take a while to, adjust and all of that. And they kept canceling all the initiatives that I brought up. That is what made me feel uncomfortable, like there's something wrong. So I booked a call with my manager. I wasn't feeling too well. I had like through the series of work and overnight updates and everything. I had this crazy migraine that didn't even let me open my eyes. Like it was so bad. So I took permission. I like, Omo, see you. I am not feeling. Excuse me. So I told them like I'm not feeling myself, but I need time to like rest. And they're like, you know what? You can rest. So either you make up for this during the weekend or you're not going to be paid. Which I eventually made up for it anyways. It was a contract role, so I wasn't expecting much. But I was shocked because when I came back, I was like, you know what? Let me book a call with my manager because some of the strategies that we're using currently, it's not giving us as much result as we would want. And they are also saying no to a lot of the things I knew would work. So I wanted to like have that call with him, get some feedback, and then try to convince him of most of the things that I had, come up with because we're already like planning towards those things. For instance, we wanted to have like a series and some other things like that. On that call, he was like, I still remember, he was like, Bella, I'm going to give you the respect since you're the one that booked this call. I'm going to give you the respect of telling me why you booked this call first. Then I also have something to tell you. My heart skipped. But I mean, I had to go ahead and say what I wanted to say because I had good intentions. I told him and finished, and the next thing he was like, oh, nice that he really understands. But unfortunately, why he wanted to speak to me was because he wanted to tell me that they have decided to let me go. I was dumbfounded. In fact, for the first time in history, that particular call was not a video call because like all our calls are usually video calls. I was dumbfounded, I was pissed, I felt so many things at the same time because this is the company that I am personally advocating for. Like everybody around me knew that they had to use that product. So like with all the things that I've been coming up with, it just started making sense why a lot of the initiatives that I had brought up they didn't approve and stuff like that. And even when they approve and we start publicity and all of that, they would cancel midway. Like it just started making sense. I think I cried on that call, but at the same time, I did have the courage because when he said that I was laid off, he didn't give me exactly, like, he didn't give me any reason. It was like they are not sure in the next 2 months I was going to perform well. Like, okay. Um, for the first time in history, I did found my voice. I said, "Excuse me, Sal. Hello, excuse me. But you need to understand that when I joined this company, there was no sense of direction. I pretty much set up everything from scratch. And for everybody that is involved with setting up structures and building things and still, working hand in hand with trying to promote a product and all, you know that it can be a big hassle. You might set up this structure today and then it doesn't work across the team. You have to go back to the drawing board and stuff like that. But I told him, excuse you, like for the first time I stood up to my employer, I'm like, I know the work I have done here. It is a lot. You guys said no, that you people did not have any sense of direction. A lot of the things that I've done here is as a result of, my efforts. And then it was also painful because there are some days that I'll even stay awake all through the night. I kid you not, I'll stay awake all through the night trying to get work done and all of that, only for you to wake up and tell me that you're laying me off. No form of feedback. And I asked him, like, is it that there's no form of feedback in this part of the world? Like, people don't give feedback because nobody told me anything. In fact, it didn't come off as I was underperforming. It came off as we were expecting 100% results, but the results we are getting are like 40%. That's kind of a thing. And you're pretty much still new in the market. Like people that are into marketing would know that it takes a while, especially if you're a new product and you're trying to bootstrap because you don't have money. It takes a while before you can break into certain markets. And we already have like a huge competitor, and stuff like so. Like, I felt like that was a very how would I put it? I felt like that was very selfish because of the work I had put in. And at the same time, I also needed to understand that they needed to make a decision that would favor the company either ways. So I later on discovered, because after I had defended myself and my work on that call, he then said, oh, he understands and he's very sorry for coming off like that. But that at this point, they honestly do not have a structure. They don't even know what they want. They are getting low on funds, and all of that. And then it now made sense. Hey, you should have said that you're getting low on funds rather than try to make me feel like I underperformed, right? Because I know very well that I did not. My work rate was up there, you know. So trying to cut down the team. And I asked him, well, I mean, I understand the company needs to do what they have to do to, what works for them and all of that. So it would have just come out straight and said, oh, we can no longer afford to pay you. Um, you have to leave rather than, you know, making me feel like I didn't do anything at all. But he apologized and all that was sorted because I mean, I think at the end of the day, everybody did give me a recommendation, including the CEO himself. So I think that was a good thing. Um, but then I think for every job that I've worked where at the end of the day they probably lay me off, I usually have this immediate emotional disconnection because of how connected and emotional I always get about my jobs. I always attach my emotions, my well being, everything to that job. Like it just has to work. Like I said, you would almost even swear that I am the owner of the product because of how I'll carry it on my head. Right. So when he said that, it was a 2 weeks notice, and I was still talking to a lot of influencers. I was still like working normally. He said, you know what, you still have to carry out your duties, else you're not gonna be paid. What are you talking about? I mean, I have to be paid. So I worked until the very last day, and I started handing over a lot of the things that I was doing. And for something that looked like I wasn't doing much. By the time I started handing over a lot of things that I was doing, it now looks like I was even doing more than the other people in the team. So, yeah, that's my short layoff story. And after that happened, I think it did plunge me into depression because I had made a lot of investments, I had made a lot of plans, I have started thinking of so many things that I wanted to do. My businesses, I had invested, so many things. I was just hoping that, okay, at the end of the day, I'm going to now settle in, I'm going to start saving, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Again, bad financial mistake. So when that happened, it just caught me halfway. And I'm like, shit. I wouldn't have made all those investments. I wouldn't have done all those things. I would have just kept my money. But I mean, it has happened. So that pushed me into depression because that immediate time I tried to look for a job, but most of the jobs I was interviewing for wanted someone on site, and they were not willing to pay for relocation. So, and then there were also some other jobs I got rejection emails from that maybe I'm not good enough, maybe this, maybe that. I did lots of research. I queried ChatGPT, queried Gemini, queried all the AI models that I know. I queried every single thing. I did a lot of research trying to figure out where I lacked in my skill level, and I discovered that, what, you actually have the skills. You're not just seeing companies that would work for you. And I just told myself, okay, you know what, since this is happening and it's putting you in this kind of a situation, just focus on your business for now. Take more like a career break. And I did take that career break. So I wasn't doing anything. Most times I'll just randomly apply, and then just unfortunately, or even those ones that will even tell stories and say, oh, we are sorry, but we had to go pick a candidate, kini. Like, I wasn't even interested. I was just open. Initially, I started getting disturbed, but after a while, once I open the message, I'll see. Sorry, once I open the email, I'll see. I'm like, I beg, you're lost. So that happened for some time, and I just decided to rest. During that time, I started doing a lot of coffee chats. Between January and now, I think as my last coffee chat was last week. I started reaching out to random community managers that I could find on the timeline that were doing well, that were working at all those top companies. I did coffee chats with them. Funny enough, they responded. So I did coffee chats with them, spoke to them because I was looking for something that would boost my confidence. I lost confidence in my own self. So having those coffee chats and discussing with them, and I discovered that this is a general thing that is happening in the industry, and that there are so many people that are suffering from it. Most of them even had similar experiences like I did, and they said they had to resign from their companies. But I mean, in this part of the world, I don't have that kind of luxury to just randomly resign from a company, right? And it just made sense. And I still remember what one of them said. He said, not every company understands how community and marketing works. If you see those red flags, leave immediately. And it just made a lot of sense because I did see a lot of red flags, but for some reason, I mean, I needed a job. I was broke and all of that. So every red flag turned to a green flag for me. But after leaving, I just discovered that, this should have given me a hint. So yeah, that's what I've been up to. That pushed me into a lot of depression because I had made a lot of bad money decisions, and then being cut out of my job and being cut out of my income. Everything just started affecting me mentally, emotionally, physically, everything. So I just went MIA. Most times I'll go on LinkedIn and just make a post and then run away. Other times I won't even be active on WhatsApp. But yeah, I think one thing that has kept me going is God. Because I have had similar experiences or even worse or less, in the past couple of years. and for some reason I always come out of it, right? God doesn't has never let me down in a way that I would start crying or I would start saying, oh, it's so bad, So that gave me a lot of boosts, confidence boost. And I'm like, you know what? If you have to go on a career break, go on a career break. If you don't, like, nobody is paying my bills at the end of the day, right? So I did. I used that period to do a lot of coffee chats, used that period to learn, used that period to do a lot of volunteering, and it kind of paid off because it started bringing my confidence level back. And then I'm grateful for the gift of people. Oh my God. My friends, my family, they didn't even have to wait to not hear from me. They didn't even have to wait for me to decide to isolate myself away from people. Like, I wasn't even reciprocating, but they just loved me. They just reached out. Sometimes they'll randomly just send me money. Like, shout out to my friends. Shout out to all of you. I love you guys so much. Jamie, Cynthia, Messi, JB, even my sisters, my parents. Oh my God. It's uncountable. If I start counting names, Liam, ah God, even Didi, she will just be sending me job roles. Bella, apply for this one. Bella, do this one. Bella, do that one. Bella, like, I'm just grateful for the gift of people. Really, like, I'm so blessed. I don't have a job yet, but seeing how people around me have made me feel okay, made me feel comfortable, it's been one of the best things that has happened to me this year. Okay, so I think yesterday I was randomly just scrolling on Twitter and I saw a message. Let me quickly pull it up because I took a screenshot. I saw a DM, not a DM. I saw a post from someone or a tweet, and the person said, "I failed again. But here's the thing, I'm not sad. Failing doesn't make me a failure. Fail once, I dare you to fail twice. Fail 10 times if you have to. The worst failures often make the greatest success stories." And then someone commented and said, if you fail 100 times, you have found 100 ways that do not work. Never give up. And it just made a lot of sense. It gave me that energy boost. Like, okay, I'm not the only one in this. Like, there's so many people feeling that way, and that does not define who you are. Sometimes you maybe just need to take a step back and learn about certain things, learn certain things about yourself and what you can do. So that's why I am back, because I think this video is getting low. Let me try to turn on my other light, and I'll be back shortly. I don't know if there's a difference. I don't know if there's a difference between the previous video and this one, but I have turned on an extra light, so let's hope it works. So, I read that tweet and it gave me a lot of energy boost, and I'm back, hopefully here to stay. So with that being said, oh yes, another thing that got me back to YouTube was the fact that I kept getting comments, and I think someone even reached out to me. Shout out to Claire. I'm now mentoring her on community management. She reached out to me and was like, Bella, your videos are so helpful. Your videos on community management are so helpful. Would you want to recommend resources and stuff like that? I had a chat with her. We booked a coffee chat. Had a chat with her, and at the end of the day, I discovered that, well, I could actually mentor her, and that's how it worked. And she's now my mentee, right? And that's one of the things that made me come back to YouTube, because like, even when I wasn't actively creating content, the previous content I had created gave so much value that you had to look for me and reach out to me. It means that with all the list of content, like the amount of content ideas that I have, I should be able to create content till year end without thinking of new ones. That's how much truckload of content I have to give. But the time to sit down, film, and all of those things. So that's really encouraged me, even when I wasn't actively creating. My content was still providing value, and I really loved that. I also got a couple other comments, and that just made me feel really good. And what I've been up to, so I think last week I started what we call like a, not last week, before last, I started a live stream series where on prompt engineering, where I would bring in different speakers to speak on prompt engineering, basically teaching people how to prompt AI to give them the best result. And so far I think that has been received really well. So yeah, fingers crossed, and looking forward to more. So I just want to do it every week for the whole month of May, and let's see how that would work. I don't want to be doing live streams every week, it can be so draining. But fingers crossed. So to all true to the month of May, I'm going to look forward to doing that. And if there are any other ones you would like me to work on, feel free to let me know. um So yeah, this is my official welcome video, and also to announce that I am back. I think someone is working somewhere, just in case you hear any background noise. My neighbor is moving mad today. So I am back to job hunting. I'm still in my professional break era, but I'm still job hunting because girl is broke and she needs money. So job hunting, looking forward to working on gigs, freelance gigs and whatnot. And I also have a new schedule here on the channel. So videos will be going up every Mondays and every Fridays by 2:30 p.m. West African time. And that's something new I learned about the YouTube's algorithm, learning uploading your video before the peak time starts. So by that time your video must have settled, must have gotten to the first few audiences, so that by the time the peak hour comes, YouTube will just help to push it. So I'm going to experiment that all through the month of May to see how that works. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Hopefully this comeback is a comeback that should never have left. And yeah, I hope to continue creating content. I hope to continue sharing value. I'm going to try. So I would say welcome to a new dispensation. So if you're new here watching this video, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share my videos with your friends. I also have a newsletter called the Friday Extra, and there's so many amazing things that I want to do for my family, for this tribe, for my YouTube tribe. There's so many amazing things that I want to do, and I can't wait to share them all with you guys. But in the meantime, feel free to watch other of my videos and interact. Bye.